A letter from Robert E. Lee to Mary Randolph Custis Lee, December 27th, 1856. Fort Brown, Texas. Nothing has occurred, dearest Mary, since my letter of the 20th, worthy of relating, except the arrival on the 24th of the steamer from New Orleans, bringing full files of papers and general intelligence from the States. I have enjoyed the former very much, and in the absence of particular intelligence, for my letters, of course, have all been taken the other direction, have pursued with much interest the series of the Alexandria Gazette from the 20th November to 18th December inclusive. Besides the usual good general reading matter, I was interested in the relation of local affairs and inferred from the quiet and ordinary course of events that all in the neighborhood was going on well. I trust it may be so, and that you, and particularly all at Arlington and our friends elsewhere, are well. The steamer also brought the President's message to Congress and the reports of the various heads of departments, the proceedings of Congress, etc., etc., so that we are now assured that the government is in operation and the Union in existence. Not that we had any fears to the contrary, but it is satisfactory always to have the facts to go on. They restrain supposition and conjecture, confirm faith, and bring contentment. I was much pleased with the President's message and the report of the Secretary of War, the only two documents that have reached us entire. Of the others, synopsis have only arrived. The view of the President of the systematic and progressive efforts of certain people of the North to interfere with and change the domestic institutions of the South are truthfully and faithfully expressed. The consequences of their plans and purposes are also clearly set forth, and they must also be aware that their object is both unlawful and entirely foreign to them, their duty, for which they are irresponsible and unaccountable, and can only be accomplished by them through the agency of a civil and servile war. In this enlightened age, there are few, I believe, but will acknowledge that slavery as an institution is a moral and political evil in any country. It is useless to expatiate on its disadvantages. I think it, however, a greater evil to the white than to the black race, and while my feelings are strongly interested in behalf of the latter, my sympathies are more strong for the former. The blacks are immeasurably better off here than in Africa, morally, socially, and physically. The painful discipline they are undergoing is necessary for their instruction as a race, and I hope will prepare and lead them to better things. How long their subjugation may be necessary is known and ordered by a wise and merciful providence. Their emancipation will sooner result from the mild and melting influence of Christianity than the storms and tempests of fiery controversy. This influence, though slow, is sure. The doctrines and miracles of our Savior have required nearly 2,000 years to convert but a small part of the human race, and even Christian nations. What gross errors still exist? While we see the course of the final abolition of human slavery is onward, and we give it the aid of our prayers and all justifiable means in our power, we must leave the progress, as well as the result, in His hands who sees the end, who chooses to work by slow influences, and with whom 2,000 years are but a single day. Although the abolitionist must know this, and must see that he has neither the right or power of operating except by moral means and suasion, and if he means well to the slave, he must not create angry feelings in the master, that although he may not approve the mode by which it pleases Providence to accomplish its purposes, the result will nevertheless be the same, that the reason he gives for interference in what he has no concern holds good for every kind of interference with our neighbors when we disapprove their conduct. Still, I fear he will persevere in his evil course. Is it not strange that the descendants of those pilgrim fathers who crossed the Atlantic to preserve their own freedom of opinion have always proved themselves intolerant of the spiritual liberty of others? Although the steamer brought us much general news, it brought no intelligence of or from our absent intrusses. The court, therefore, at its meeting yesterday, adjourned for another week, 2nd January 57. I wish I could see that this great delay in accomplishing what I think might have been finished while at Ringgold was right. It would not then be so irksome to me. But I cannot help it. I must therefore hope that it is right and be content. I have not yet heard from San Antonio, and therefore have heard nothing from you. 2 or perhaps 3 weeks must yet elapse before I can expect a response. This is very grievous, but must be borne too. I hope you all had a joyous Christmas at Arlington, and that it might be long and often reported. I thought of you all and wished to be with you. Mine was gratefully but silently passed. I endeavored to find some little presents for the children in the garrison to add to their amusement, and succeeded better than I anticipated. The stores are very barren of such things here, but by taking the week beforehand in my daily walks, I pick up little by little something for all. Tell Mildred I got a beautiful Dutch doll for little Emma Jones. One of these crying babies that can open and shut their eyes, turn their head, etc., etc. For the 2 other little girls, Puss Sibley and Mary Sewell, I found handsome French teapots to match cups given them by Mrs. Waite. Then, by means of knives and hooks, I satisfied the boys. After disposing of my presents, I went to church. The congregation was very respectable, and Mr. Passmore's discourse was on the subject of the birth of our Savior. It was not simply or touchingly told, as it is in the Bible. By previous invitation, Major Thomas and I dined with him at 2 p.m. on roast turkey and plum pudding. He and his wife were alone. I had provided a pretty singing bird for their little girl, and passed the afternoon in my room. Give much love to all the children, your father, and all friends. God bless you all. Truly yours, Robert E. Lee.